What is going on, guys? Welcome back. It's Institutional here, and we're back with another video. So for this video, we're going to talk about a little bit of the trades, or not a bit. We're going to talk about all the trades that we took yesterday and how you start applying market structure again to the whole, because that's the whole concept. Understanding liquidity and market structure and bigger and small term levels all combined into one. So we took four trades yesterday. Sorry, we took 3 wins and we took 1 loss, and these were all recorded live. So if you guys want to see the trades while they're happening live, you can go back on my last video that I was doing live streaming on London session, and you will see all the trades. So no hindsight, no bullshit. All these trades were taken live, and you guys can see my reactions. Calm as day, but obviously just understand the market as a whole and making sure that I understand the way that I'm doing things, right? So to begin with, we're going to start with EURUSD. We took one trade here. We did analyze the market, and it did drop down beautifully the way that we expected, but we only took one trade here yesterday, and this was the first trade. Unfortunately, it was a loss, but I'm going to show you guys what it did wrong, and how you guys can capitalize. Again, even if you're taking wrong trades, there's lessons to be learned, because when you're taking right trades, there's lessons to be learned, and when you're taking wrong trades, there's also lessons to be learned. If you understand both these things combined, you can build that edge. So looking at the market, I started looking at the market roughly around 150. 150 a.m. is when I got in the live around 2. And what I saw was this, right? So what I saw, first of all, was that if I'm looking at an H1 perspective level from structure, unfortunately, price tried to mitigate this FPG right here, and we were unable to make that swing high. So once I saw that, I expected price to come back down and rebalance down here. That was my main focus or pool that I had a target for price to potentially reject from when it came to structure. I expected price to potentially come back down to this level, and unfortunately, it did. But the way that we took the trades were just a little bit too early. So we then analyzed when we had that sweep, and we could have capitalized on that after, and I'll explain to you guys that after. But it's always just understanding liquidity and structure as a whole. So that was my target for the day. And when I started looking at structure, it was right here, right? And what I saw was that price, again, these trades were all taken live, so this is not hindsight. The price dropped down like this, right? And I expected price to first come down and grab this liquidity. So my first setup was this. I saw this M5 sweep. You can see that here we have a little bit of a liquidity grab. And I expected price to come down to mitigate out of this FPG. We didn't mitigate that. And what price did was it dropped down, and then I went to the M1. So I went to the M1 and I was looking at structure here because I'm applying all structures again into one. And what I was looking for was, what is price going to do here? So I went down to the M1, and what I saw was that in this M1, we developed a bearish FPG. So to my idea, I really thought this was going to be just a hindsight trade. And I thought this was going to be an inducement for bear traders to try to catch it short, and then long traders to capitalize on that. And that's what happened. So what we took was we expect the price to rebound to this FPG, and from here overshoot to this one. And my setup was something like this. So I had an M5 FPG right there, which you guys can see, and I had my stops above, and I wanted price to drop down lower. And unfortunately, what price did was it just rebalanced to this one, and then it just completely flew up. So the mistake here was not waiting for price to go up correctly, right? It went up way too high. So it went up like this. When price goes up like that or drops down like this, you can discard this as a demand zone or supply zone. You gotta expect price to go up correctly or drop down correctly for that level to be valid. If it doesn't overshoot like that or show you some type of rejections, which it didn't, then there shouldn't even be a penny to begin with, right? I should have waited for more confirmation to then take this short. So that was the first loss for the day. And then from there, we stopped looking at EU sells, but we understood what price did after. I don't want to go over this, but you guys can go back on my London live and see how we capitalize, or how people that were in the live were able to capitalize on the shorts then after we had that sweep of liquidity, because price did go up higher, and then it gave us context to continue going with the short. Now, moving on. So looking at gold, right? Looking at gold and understanding what price did with gold, this was a better trade. Yeah, these were some pretty clean trades that we took yesterday, and this was where we compounded our 3 wins, right? So 4 trades, 3 wins, and we're gonna go over all of them right here. So the first one was like this, right? What I was looking for was, again, we started looking at price from this 12-way open, and we're looking at structure as a whole. So if we look at structure as a whole, what can we see here? We can see that we have higher low points, higher high, and then from here we have a lower high point that got swept, that led to its lower low, lower high point that led to its lower low. So what I'm looking for now is what levels of supply have to be rejected for price to then potentially start dropping down lower. So what I did was I went down to M5 and I started looking at all my supply levels of what made sense. So if we just disregard out of this structure, because this was that London liquidity that happened. We had a complete market maker model happening here, right? So if we look at structure like this and we start looking at levels of supply and demand, well, we can start mapping them out, right? So how I start off with it is like this. So we have a level of supply right here. We have this FEG that we have yet to rebalance. If we keep looking at price, we have this FEG here, rebalance that already. We have then this level of supply right there. We overshot that. Then price dropped down lower, level of demand being formed, we respected that. Level of demand right here being formed, we have not yet rebalanced that right here, right? And then we have a level of demand right here. The rebalance that, level of demand right here, with the rebalance that, and then we can keep on going, right? Level of supply, rebalance, level of supply, rebalanced, right? Level of supply right here, we haven't yet rebalanced that. So we could just have that mapped out if you guys want, right? So looking at structure here from this again H1 level, this big H1 level of supply to this H1 low, this lack of structure, what has yet to be rebalanced here? Well, the first target would be this one, right? And the second target would be this one. So these are the two levels of supply that I would expect price to potentially test for then price to continue dropping lower. So if we just again delete all this now and look at how price started moving, this is what I saw. So what I saw was that price, what it did was a rebalance of this M15 FPG right here, rebalance of this high low point that led to its higher high is a valid level of demand. So if we're looking at price that from here, it goes up higher. And what I saw was something like this, right? So this is where I took my trade. This was this candle. So what I saw was here. This is my second trade, sorry, yesterday. What I saw first of all is that we were at a level of liquidity. So all this, what it is to me is just liquidity. There's not going to be any way whatsoever that price is going to want to drop from here. It's either going to want to rebalance this level up here or rebalance this level up here. So when I went to the M1, when people are looking for sells, guess what I was looking for? I was looking for longs. And when can I see that? I can see that right here. Look at that beautiful FPG just sitting there waiting for us to capitalize from. And what I did was, again, this is all recorded live. So you guys want to see this trade, go ahead and look at it on my last on the stream. I took my trade here, had my longs, stops below, and expecting for price to go back up here for nice to the 2-to-1, right? And what price did was actually quite the opposite. It just flew all the way and hit that last M5 level. So this is first trade of the day, and it was a win, right? But keep this level in mind. Keep this pocket in mind, because what does this indicate first? This indicates that SMC was capitalizing on this FEG. And it also indicates that our price was to break this. This is now going to be considered a breaker, right? Why is it a breaker? Because here we sweep liquidity to go up higher. So what does price do? Well, first of all, it broke out of that last level of supply. We could delete that. It broke out of all these levels of supply. So now we got to be focused is on levels of demand. So where are my levels of demand now? Well, my levels of demand are going to be focused down here, which will be either down here, right? Down here. And the last one, either down here, or we can look at somewhere down here that has been mitigated, or even, this small level down here. So looking at price, we're looking at this M5 level. Now we can continue looking at structure. So continue looking at structure here. What does price do? Well, first of all, it starts breaking out of levels of this FPG. So this last M1 FPG we broke out of, and we tested out of that M1 FPG. So if you wanted to be a little bit more, aggressive, you could have definitely taken this sell right here, this FPG right here. But I'm a little bit more conservative, so I want to make sure that I understand what price is doing. So from here, price, it goes up higher and it rebalances that, right? And then it continues dropping. So what I'm looking for while all this is happening is that, first of all, we have our first confirmed lower high point that led to a lower low, lower high point that led to a lower low. So in this structural leg, now I'm going to be focused on an FPG that I can capitalize from in any single time frame. So what I was looking for was, first of all, while this is being formed, I want to make sure that I continue going higher with 10 minutes, because think about it like this. What has retail taught you that is actually real? The bigger the time frame, the stronger the trend, right? So if I'm looking at an M1 FEG and I start making an M2 FEG, I'm going to focus on that. So When I'm looking at this M1, I start looking, is there any FVG here that I can capitalize from? No. I look at M2. Is there any FVG that I can capitalize from? Yes. So I was looking now at this one, right? This is going to be my focus for now. But while this is happening then, let's look at M3. Is there FVG that I capitalize from here? Yes. So now this one is going to be my FVG that I focus on. And then we look at M4. Anything happened yet? Not yet, right? So this is still my target, or what I'm looking for, the short from this FVG. Now let's continue looking at price. And again, what am I targeting? Well, now I'm definitely going to be targeting this low here, right? I'm targeting this FVG right here. This is what makes sense to me. Why? Because this is now at a level of discount. So if we look at this structure, we are at a level of premium from a discount. I can be targeting anywhere down here. And again, we have to understand that we are from this lower high point, this lower low. This is the real structure that we're focusing in. So I'm going to continue going on with price here, right? Price drops down, and now I'm looking at M4. M4, we have now made an M4 FVG. So this could be my focus, because again, the FVGs that I have my eyes on, M1, M2, M3, they start being insignificant. Why is that? Because I already developed structure with M1, and now I'm making a bigger FVG within a higher time frame structure. So this was my second trade for the day. We continue looking at price, and while this is happening, guess what? We now have made an M5 FVG. So I skipped a little bit too late, but this M5 FVG is what I was focused on. So we made the M5 FVG, and this was my trade. So the M1, M2, M3, M4, they were all stuck up here. This is where you get confused. They don't matter anymore. What matters now is going to be that bigger time frame structure, which is this M5 FVG, this lower high point that led to this lower low. So all I did was have my short right here, stops above, and target the lows down here for an answer to 2 to 1, right? As you can see, price mitigates that and hits it perfectly. And again, this was all recorded live, so you can look at the trades if you want to. It's no hindsight. So, well, once that gets hit, I'm looking at structure and asking myself, where can price go next? Because obviously, where is the model placed here? We broke out of this FVG here, so now this is a break of structure. Now, I know that for a fact, this level is not going to hold. And my complete model is going to be placed out where? My TP level is not going to be placed down there. So we're going to have a complete turnaround this Sunday session. But what I'm looking for is, what levels make the most sense? And if we go back up to M2, let's remember this. This is what makes the most sense to me. Why? Because this right here is now going to be that breaker where we capitalize from. So when I looked at M1, it just looked completely clean to me, right? Look at this. We have that M1 breaker right here from where we were capitalized on that long. And then we have also on top of that, M1 FVG right there. So once I saw that, this was my third trade. So we took, what did we take? My fourth trade, sorry, we took the long here, profit, TP, right? Short here, profit, TP. And this was the third trade that I took right here. So our shorts were placed right here, shorts, stops above, and target the lows down here, right? And we can, again, look how price reacts. Rebalances that, just a little bit, and then drops all the way down to TP and more, right? I mean, just a perfect the way that market moved, continues going, and all the trades that we took. Like I said, all these trades were taken live, so if you guys want to make sure that this is not bullshit, go ahead and look at them. But I want to show you guys a little bit more of the way that I look at the market, combine it again, liquidity and structure, and the way that higher time frames combine into small time frames and how you guys can capitalize it from it as a whole. So I hope you guys, didn't get too confused. I know I might speak a little bit confusing, a little bit too fast sometimes, but I hope you guys were able to see the market the way that I saw it. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys know how it goes. Don't overtrade, don't over leverage, safe trading, and peace.